This is Bill Baldwin of Boulevard Realty with an update on flood maps. Please be aware that the Harris County flood maps are about to change. In fact, the way flood maps will be determined is totally new and revolutionary. Make yourself aware of the process and the timeline at Map Next. Map Next stands for Harris County Modeling, Assessment, and Awareness Project, the first of its kind in the nation. It's the next generation of flood mapping using new methodologies, new technology, and new data. The new maps will be released in early 2025, and thousands of homes in Harris County are expected to be added to both the 100 and 500-year floodplains. Likewise, many homes may no longer be in the 100 or 500-year floodplains. After the announcement, there will be a period of 6 to 9 months of education and input. The adoption is not likely until late 2025 at the earliest. Please keep up to date and refer to Map Next on the Harris County Flood Control website.
HAR TV has expanded and we're now offering video services at 4 locations. Our Fort Bend branch located at 6608 Greatwood Parkway in Sugar Land. Our Montgomery County branch located at 25700 I-45 North in Spring. Our Bay Area branch located at 17225 El Camino Real in Bay Area. And our original location at HAR Central located at 3693 Southwest Freeway in Houston. All 4 locations offer all the same high quality video production that you have always experienced here at our central location. Contact us today to get your video appointment scheduled at any one of our 4 locations.
As realtors, we help our clients with all sorts of matters, including how to find available resources that may assist with the down payment. We are proud to announce that Down Payment Resource is now available on HAR.com. This will allow consumers to find out if they meet the criteria for any of the 70 different assistance programs available in the greater Houston region. Some programs are income-based, but many allow higher incomes than you may think. There are also programs specific for people in certain professions, such as police officers, firefighters, teachers, healthcare workers, and others. About 89% of all listings for sale in Houston qualify for some sort of down payment. To find out more, you may visit www.har.com/down payment and work with your realtor to make sure you have everything you need to be able to purchase the home of your dreams.
Good morning and Happy New Year. Welcome to Member Focus Monday. I am Claudia Hernandez, Director of Video Services for HAR, and I'm taking over hosting duties while Christina Schaefer is out on maternity leave. Today, I'd like to welcome the 2025 HAR Chair of the Board, Shae Cottar. Welcome, Shae.
Welcome. Hey, thank you so much, and I'm so glad to be here.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us. I know you're so excited to be here and give us all the new information about HAR and what's going on and what your goals are. So let's go ahead and just get started. What do you expect for the 2025 real estate market?
You know, for the 2025 real estate market, I think we really have to sort of understand and divide out, I think, the legal challenges from the regulatory challenges from the actual market itself. And I know that a lot of people are paying attention to everything right now, right? And as far as the market goes, I really think we're going to see some continued equilibrium. I know that over the last several years, especially post-pandemic, We've really kind of been fighting some inventory issues over the last few years, and those have really begun to resolve themselves. In some respect, we're beginning to see a little bit more normalcy in days on the market, a little bit more normalcy on inventory. So I think we're going to see a little bit more continued equilibrium, although I know that there's always the challenge about interest rates and what's going to happen there. And of course, we're all watching that, right? And there's a little bit of movement here and there, and it's like one step forward and another step back, maybe. But I think we just have to keep our eyes open and continue to be responsive to what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, are you seeing that as a hesitation still, that some clients are waiting and holding out just to see what happens in 2025 before purchasing or selling?
I think it depends on the individual situation. I do see a lot of hesitation still, but I also see a lot of people taking advantage of the opportunities that are out there.
Yes. All right. As they say, the best time to buy is today, right? Or yesterday.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So what would you say your goals are for 2025 as HAR chair? It's a big position that you have now. I'm sure you have some things in mind that you want to accomplish. So what would you say your goals are for this year?
It's interesting because that question's come up a lot over the last few months, right? As we've kind of approached this. And I think back to the things back in 2020 when I originally ran for the executive committee, and my goals at that point are still very applicable. They're still very relevant to today, but we're also in a different place today, and there are a lot of other demands and challenges in where we are right now. And 4 or 5 years ago, when I ran for the executive committee, some of my goals at that point were things like, making sure our data is secure, making sure we're continuing to create inclusive spaces for people, making sure that we're giving the right kind of mental health support for our agents who are out there struggling through all of these changes and things like that, right? But the landscape is different now. And while all of those things are still vitally important, they kind of underpin the rest of everything else that we're facing right now, with the regulatory challenges, with honestly, with the kind of the optics that the Realtor brand is up against right now on a national level, not so much here in the Houston area, but on a national level. Some of those things are issues that we're going to have to face regardless of whether we want to or not, right? That's just kind of the landscape of where we are. So while a lot of my initial emphasis on some of those things that were important 4 or 5 years ago, those are absolutely still there. I feel like they need to kind of underpin the rest of everything that we're facing right now.
Right, which is a lot. Realtors are always facing with a lot of new things, and especially coming off this past year and all the litigation issues. So we're facing a lot of challenges.
And one of the things, as I was thinking about this, there are 3 things that are still vitally true, no matter what our landscape is like, no matter what market we're in. And those 3 things are making sure that we're focusing on our agent, on our membership, making sure that we're focusing on our community and the people around us, and then making sure we're focusing on our tools and making sure that we're giving the absolute best value to our members out there. And to me, regardless of where we are, those are still the 3 most important things that we can focus on. And I think that this season that we're in, it's just so important to focus on those really more than anything else, our agent membership, our community efforts, and making sure our tools are what they need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Those 3 are great things that we should be focusing on, especially at the beginning of the year, right? Everybody feels like it's a fresh start and we can focus on new things. So All right, so
Yeah.
if you guys are watching, feel free to leave questions or comments for Shae, and we'll get to them as we move into these questions. So I know this can be, this is different for every realtor, but overall, what advice do you have for our realtors this year?
Yeah, I think, don't get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of distraction that is out there right now, whether it is, you know, drama and conversations in all of the the different Facebook groups that are out there, or the regulatory issues that are happening, or the legal challenges that we're facing, the challenges to things like the three-way agreement or the realtor brand. I think all of those, while are necessary things for us to struggle through and resolve, I think that they're also on a day in day out basis for the everyday realtor that's out there trying to make ends meet and serve their community and take care of their family. I think a lot of that is distraction, when as long as we focus on building our business, being transparent with our clients, being authentic with our community, as long as we're focused on those kinds of efforts, I think a lot of those other things will fall into place.
Right, right. Yeah, and I've heard that from several realtors and past chairmen that, once you focus on your client, on the people, on helping people, everything else just kind of follows along, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so what would you say is one thing that agents can do to get a jump start on new business in 2025? Of course, you mentioned tools. HAR offers lots of classes. We've got conferences. We've got webinars. So what can they do to get a jump start just to help out with their business in 2025?
I think one thing that agents can definitely do is take advantage of downtime. This time of year is a slow time, right?
Yes.
I say slow. It's slow when we look at market activity, but there's so
Right.
much potential to as far as what you can be doing. And I think number one, leveraging some of that downtime, when it comes to taking classes, when it comes to better learning the
Right.
tools, but also really digging into getting your head wrapped around the data for your market. I always tell agents, get to know the data. Those data points can absolutely make or break an agent who's
Yes.
trying to really establish themselves, knowing the days on the market, knowing the average list to sales price ratio, all those kinds of things. The way that our matrix, especially our dashboard, is set up, it's so customizable, and I love the ability to be able to set up some of those reports where every time you log into matrix, you can immediately pull down some of those data sheets and look at that information, so you're constantly refreshing yourself on that. I think that kind of activity, plus just really, again, my mom used to say, this is a job, treat it like a job.
Right.
And whether there are houses to sell or houses to show or listing appointments to go on, there are still lots and lots of things that you can be doing, whether it's really kind of refreshing your sphere of influence list, looking at who your referral base is, meeting with people and setting up a pipeline. There's so many different things that you can be doing every single day, whether or not you've got the ability to go out and show houses today, or to list houses, or whatever it is. There's a lot of stuff that you can be doing.
Yeah, that's great advice. So I do have one question. Saeed asked, Shae, what inspired you to become part of the HR Executive Committee team?
That is a really good question. I think, when I think back to when I initially ran, the group involved in the HAR board of directors, regardless of who's on the board, right? There's a certain atmosphere on the board, and that atmosphere has always been one of family, one of community, one of collaboration. And that's always, in my real estate experience, that has always been such a giving group of people. Again, no matter who's in that room, it's just something, it's in the DNA of the
Right.
board. And, I think back in 2019, 2020, when I was really kind of evaluating my place in the industry and where I wanted to go from there, there was a lot about the real estate industry at large that wasn't nearly as appealing as HAR family and HAR specific. And I think one of the things that really motivated me was being in a room full of people that all value a variety of voices at the table, and having that opportunity not only to speak for people that don't have a seat at that table, but to work and put in the time and the resources to really try to continue to create such a great environment. We've got an incredible association, and there are always places to make it better. And I just really was thrilled and honored with the opportunity to be here and do this.
That's great. Yeah, and that actually segues into our next question, which is what motivates you as a leader? I know you mentioned it a little bit, and it could be the people around you in that room, but also anything in your personal life that can motivate you to lead, not just at your brokerage, but at HAR.
Yeah. So what motivates me as a leader, I think primarily is people. Their stories, community. We all have a story, and each one of us are part of each other's stories. And those relationships are so important. There's what's the old phrase? If you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. But if you want to go further, go together. And I'm a huge collaborator. I really believe that we have so much more we can do together than we can ever do separately. And I think for me, what motivates me is just the capacity for people to really work together, regardless of background, regardless of opinion, or regardless of belief systems or politics or whatever, but to have a common ability to further our community and get us to a better place. That's a really incredible honor for each of us, and each of us play a part in that with our clients, with our communities, and it's just an exciting thing to be able to be a part of.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm looking at the comments, and Debbie said, "Iron sharpens iron." Right, like you mentioned that when you get on the board, it's electric. There's an energy, and you all just feed off of each other's energy, right?
Yeah. I have learned so much from so many people through the years in those rooms.
Yeah, that's great. And so now you're taking on, the responsibility of being chair. All realtors are busy all the time. So how would you say that realtors should be focusing on their mental health? We had a chat with Jessica Setta a few weeks ago, or sometime in December, about mental health and taking that time to really step back and take a deep breath. So what is your advice to those that want to focus on their mental health this year?
Yeah, I go back to something that Karen Walren said. Karen, author, who's been a really great friend of HAR over this past year. She spoke at Engage. Before that, she spoke at our Strategic Leadership Conference in Galveston back in September. But one of the things that she talks about that to me was such a refreshing look at this topic was understanding the cycles that the world around us goes through. Nature has its own cycles, the tide, the moon, everything. And we as people are nature, and we have our own cycles. And, to build in those rhythms, self-care, I think it would be great if it could be an everyday thing, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But to build in those routines and those rhythms, to constantly come back and check in how we're doing, because really at the end of the day, mental health and self-care, those kinds of things, that's not, like woo-woo weirdness. That's stuff that helps us be more successful. We are
Mhm.
more present for our clients when we're well rested.
Right.
We're more accurate in our thinking and our strategizing and our negotiating when we're taking care of ourselves. It's great. There is a self-serving part of it, but there's also a service of others that's a part of it
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
It's sort of the oxygen mask, in the airplane. You got to make sure you've got the oxygen mask on yourself before you can help other people.
hmm Yeah. And I'm looking at the comments here, and Erica Hernandez said, I love that. It can be faster alone, but won't go further. Wow, so true. As realtors, we feel pretty lonely. So it can happen. You're
Mhm.
out on the road by yourself, showing homes, selling homes, meeting clients. So it's less of an in-office environment where you're talking to people every day. So it's important, to build that
Yeah,
community, right? Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so if realtors are looking to build that community, they're on their own a lot. What should they get involved with? We offer networking meetings, classes. What types of things do you think they should go to build that network a little more?
Yeah, we have so many different opportunities in the area through HAR and through a lot of our affiliates.
Mhm.
Whether it is getting involved in classes, whether it's getting involved in some of those network groups, some of the affiliate groups, whether it's getting more involved in your own brokerage. I think a
Yeah.
lot of times, whether we're part of a cloud brokerage or even a brick and mortar brokerage, there's been a trend over the years, that people are more isolated, that people
Yeah.
are more alone. I think
Mhm.
we have to be a little bit more proactive to kind of build some of those strategies in our everyday life. But I think at the same time, getting involved in some of those groups. I know that for me, one of my early places where I really felt community in the real estate industry, believe it or not, was the Bay Area Pals group.
Yeah.
Just getting involved in a group like that and getting in the same room with those people that are outside of your brokerage, outside of your
Right.
family, people that,
Mhm.
you're not constantly talking to every day, but
Yeah.
it's kind of a breath of fresh air. And
Mhm.
even those kinds of involvements really make a big difference.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And not just that, the area networking groups, like you said, the affiliate groups, the classes, all those things. TRLP, I know they're taking
Mm,
applications right now. They're due in March, and I know
and
that was a big, part of your career as well. So getting involved in a group like that.
absolutely.
Hmm
TLP radically changed my life, not just my trajectory of my career, but also the trajectory of my life. And I tell agents that all the time. Some of those folks that I went through TRLP with back in 2018 are still some of my closest people today.
Right.
There people in the industry, outside of the industry, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
It's just a family.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a great message from Brenda. She said, mental health and self care tools help you reduce response to the distractions, therefore, giving you
Mm,
the confidence to do your work.
bingo. That's
Yeah.
great insight.
And we've added a link to the area networking groups if you all would like to check those out. There's a new Interloop group that starts tomorrow. You can check out to see if there's available seating for that one as well. But I know there are some all over the greater Houston area. So check those out to see which one would work for you. So Shae, is there a message or call to action you'd like to share with our members?
I think in this landscape right now, one of the biggest lessons that has been the most valuable to me is to lead with curiosity. Whether we're talking about business, regulatory issues, our clients, negotiating, there's a there's a book that I read a couple of years ago that kind of redefined this for me. It's called the Scout mindset, and I've talked about it a few times. But the difference between the soldier mindset, which says, hey, this is what I know, this is the hill I'm fighting and dying on, and this is everything to me, or the sort of the counterpart to that being the scout mindset, which is, okay, what's here that I don't see? What's here that I don't know yet? Let me not come to this situation or this conclusion with my mind already made up. Let me show up with some curiosity to see what other bits of information I can understand to help inform where to go from here. And I think showing up with that curiosity right now in our industry is so important. Also showing up with compassion, empathy, transparency, authenticity, all those things are just so important for us right now, and for our community, for our local association, for our brand, everything.
Yeah, that's so great. And we have a couple comments. Teresa Hill said the HAR breakfast networking groups are awesome. Happy to hear the inner loop is back. And Christina Schaefer watching from home, great update. We look forward to your leadership this year, Shae.
Thank you, Christina.
So any last words before we close out today? Anything else you want to let our members know? How to stay updated with HAR, where to go, how to check us out?
Yeah, stay active, stay plugged in. Please, please, please watch the Facebook groups, watch har.com, stay plugged into Matrix, watch those updates, and yeah, let me know how I can be of service.
So great. Thank you so much again for joining us today, Shae. And that's it for today's Member Focus Monday. Next Monday, we'll have a fan favorite, HAR MLS Project Manager Nathan Goebel, to give us the latest updates with the MLS and what to expect in 2025. Like Shae said, check out the MLS. It's customizable, and he's going to give us those details next week. So thank you for being here again, Shae, and everybody have a great week.
Thank you. Have a great week, folks.